As Agile practitioners, we often forget to take care of ourselves. My first job out of college was as a flight attendant, and we would say this to our passengers: please put on your own oxygen masks before assisting others. Now, show of hands, type in chat reactions. How many of us here feel like we have done a good job at putting on our own oxygen masks first lately? How many of us? Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of hands. We are not alone in this. According to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, 1 in 5 US adults has a mental illness, and they define that as significant changes in thinking, emotion, and behavior, or problems functioning in social, work, or family activities. Now, how many of us have been feeling this lately? It's really easy to do, considering we have been in a global pandemic for a number of years. And I don't know about all of you, but every time I go on my LinkedIn feed, someone else I know is getting laid off. Times are hard right now, and people are hard. Our roles, we come into this whole profession to help other people, right? It's uncovering better ways of working, helping to guide people towards them. And let me tell you, people do not always want to be guided. People do not always want to change. I will put it out there right now and say, changing the behavior of people is so much harder than changing the behavior of code. People are hard, and we spend so much time helping other people that I wanted to give this time, give this talk, have this session, to have this time for ourselves. So who is taking you on this journey? I'm Season. I will be your flight attendant today for our mental health journey. I've been working in tech for over a decade now, and my first foray into the Agile world was as a Scrum Master, and I currently work as an Agile coach for Agile Learning Labs. And just to let you know, this is a talk on mental health. So I want to share with you that I have my own challenges with mental health. I have pretty severe anxiety. I have depression. I have panic disorder. That is a fun one. Let me tell you about all the fun places where I've had panic attacks before. I wanted to share all of this because I have my own challenges in this space and in this role. I am also an introvert. I am 100% on that introvert scale. You do not get more introverted than me. Yet here I am in this role, in this profession that deals with people. So what we're going to talk about today in about the hour that we have is our experience in this space, in this field, the unique challenges that we have as Scrum Masters and as Agile practitioners. We are going to talk about stress, mental health. What is mental health? Establishing that shared understanding of it, stress, and what really threatens our mental health. We are going to take a little bit of a break. An hour is kind of a longer session to have, so it's really important to kind of do an active recovery, as my favorite YouTube workout videos would call it. And then we're going to dive into self-care, really putting on our own oxygen masks. All right, everybody got their seatbelts buckled? Wheels up, let's take off. Mental health. I want you to put in a chat, when you hear those words, mental health, what do you think of? Share in chat. Mental health. What do you think about? Health? Yeah, good one, Tony. What else? When you hear mental health, feelings, so important. Taking time away from work, well-being is coming up, our mind, our thoughts, stress, yes, work-life balance, stability, lots of thoughts on mental health, mindfulness, boundaries, perfect, peace of mind. I'll give you the official definition of mental health, and this is coming from the World Health Organization. It is a state of mental well-being that enables you to cope with the stress of life, realize abilities, learn well, work well, contribute to our community. The state of our mental health affects our ability to make decisions. It affects our ability to build relationships. It's even been described as some organizations as a human right to mental health. And when we don't care for our mental health, there are consequences. Globally, an estimated 12 billion working days are lost to anxiety and depression, and that comes at a cost of $1 trillion globally in lost productivity. When you have poor mental health, it has a negative effect on our cognitive, our behavioral, our emotional, our social, our relational well-being. It has an effect on our personal identity, and it has an effect on our work. And a leading detriment to our mental health is stress. Luang Bach, he's a Buddhist monk. He describes stress as the gap between our expectations and reality. I like to think of it as the turbulence along our journey. Now, according to the American Psychological Association, 58% of Americans say that work is a significant source of stress. So again, chat, hands, reactions. How many people here agree work is a significant source of stress? Maybe some people aren't willing to admit it. Yeah, 1,000%, Nick. Yeah. It is, work is tough. The work that we do contributes to our stress. Yep, hands raised. Now, in our roles, Scrum Masters, Agile practitioners, change agents, we are facing stressors that are sources of stress. And I want to introduce you to Dr. Emily Nagoski and her sister, Dr. Amelia Nagoski, authors of the book Burnout. They talk about a key difference between stressors and stress. So imagine that you are being chased by a lion, a very ferocious, scary lion we have here on the screen. The lion, the stressor, could veer off at any time, stop chasing you, change its mind. The stressor is gone. However, your stress is still there. Your heart is still pumping. Every system in your body is still in a state of stress. We're talking your digestive system, your immune system, your cardiovascular system, your musculoskeletal system. Every part of your body is still on high alert. And hopefully, we are not all being chased by lions in our jobs. If you are, I would love to hear about it in chat. Please share. Hopefully that's not happening, but day after day, we are hit by chronic stressors in our roles, and those stressors reactivate that stress response. And chronic stress leads to high blood pressure. High blood pressure leads to heart disease, and then stress becomes life-threatening. Stress is life-threatening. Think about that. That is scary. And we cannot always control these stressors that we have in our work, but we can control how we respond to them. Common stressors that we face as Agile practitioners. We really want Agile to work. We want to be able to control those stressors that are threatening our progress to healthy Scrum. We are always having to define our success. We have this pressure to perform in our roles, and that performance can often turn into our identities. And feeling like a fraud. When you are the person that is looked to have all of the answers, let's face it, we don't always have them. And that feeling can be deeply uncomfortable. I am going to turn it over to all of you. You get to choose what it is that we are going to talk about. We're going to do it kind of a lean coffee style, and it's very likely in this time that we will only have time to cover one topic. So whatever gets the most votes, we will talk about first. So let's do this. In chat, if you would like to cover really wanting Agile to work, type in the word Agile. If you'd like us to go towards defining success and turning that into our identity, type success into chat. And if you would like to talk about how we can sometimes feel like a fraud in our roles, that'll be imposter or fraud in there. So I'm going to take a look in chat and keep me honest if you're seeing one more than the other. So I'm seeing a couple of Agiles. Agile seems to be winning. Oh, lots of imposter, lots of success. Fraud, imposter. Okay. I am seeing mostly a drive to talk about feeling like a fraud in our roles, and I'm very excited because that is one of my favorite topics. So we will go there first. So thanks for chiming in. Raise your hand, type in chat, do a reaction if you know what JIRA is. Anybody know JIRA? Yeah, we know. Okay, keep your hand raised. Keep those yeses going if you love JIRA, if it's your favorite tool. I'm seeing those hands go down so quickly. Okay, I am totally kidding on this one. Here's why I brought up JIRA. This is Mike Cannon-Brookes. So he's one of the founders of Atlassian that makes everybody's favorite software, JIRA. It is arguably the world's most popular work tracking tool for software development. Mike is a professor in the New South Wales Computer Science Department. He is a vocal environmental advocate, and you may have heard him in the news going toe-to-toe with Elon Musk on some issues. He is a billionaire, and he has imposter syndrome. He talks about it in his TED Talk, which I would encourage you to check out. He talks about how in the early days of Atlassian, he sat in on board meetings and all of these acronyms were flying around, and he was going, yeah, okay, totally, I get that. And then he would write the acronyms down to look them up later. I myself have done that in a few meetings on occasion. He talks about feeling like an imposter when he's winning global awards. He talks about looking at his wife and feeling like he doesn't deserve to have her. This is a successful billionaire feeling this way. And what's really cool is Atlassian actually dedicates an entire section of their onboarding just to imposter syndrome, to let employees who join the company know that they do deserve to be there. Now, imposter syndrome was actually first defined as imposter phenomenon in 1978 by Pauline Rose Clance and Suzanne Imes. And they first described a phenomenon in which women, high-performing, high-achieving women, they studied them and they had this nagging feeling that someone was just going to come along and declare them a phony. And they tended to attribute their success to luck rather than to their inherent abilities. And of course, we now know that this phenomenon does not just happen with women. There's a tech community website called Blind, and they polled their users, and 58% of their users admitted to suffering from imposter syndrome, that feeling that someone's going to come and rip it all away. Now, I want you to imagine this happening on the internet for everyone to see. Yeah, that is right. I am an agile coach, and I have no formal experience as a coder. None whatsoever. I am in a coding boot camp right now to get that experience, and I have been documenting my journey on YouTube. And this is one of the comments on one of my videos. And it sent me down a spiral, or what is known in cognitive behavioral therapy as a catastrophic thinking episode caused by a cognitive distortion. Now, in his book, Feeling Good, Dr. David Burns, he's a psychiatrist and a professor at Stanford University. He defines cognitive distortions as the ability to believe in things which have no basis in reality. And he breaks cognitive distortions into these 10 categories. My particular catastrophic thinking with that YouTube comment involved a number of these cognitive distortions, particularly all or nothing thinking. That is, all coaches must have experience in what it is that they are coaching. I am the only one in the world who does not. I also do want to touch on shame briefly, because a study in the Journal for Social Behavior and Personality actually found shame to be one of the biggest predictors of imposter syndrome. And it's measured with this test called the test of self-conscious affect, because shame is something that comes from yourself when you feel like you are inadequate. And you can see from the highlighted answers, shame is when we turn inwards and blame ourselves for not being good enough. And I want to share a quote from Brené Brown, who is a shame researcher. And she says, "The only people who don't experience shame have no capacity for human empathy or connection." Yikes. I wanted to go in and challenge my shame and my all or nothing thinking. So I did what any upstanding intellect would do, and I went on Google. My boyfriend and I have been watching this Formula One documentary on Netflix. Is anyone else, have you seen it? Type in the chat or raise your hand. It was one of those things where I was just kind of watching over his shoulder, and then I got really into it, and now I know like all of the drivers' names and who they drive for. That show got me curious, and I started looking up the team principles. And if you're not familiar with F1, Team principals are basically the boss of the driving team. The drivers, the pit crew, marketing, the legal team, they all go through the team principal. They make the decisions before the race, during the race, after the race. I looked up the team principals on the season we were watching, and 4 of the team principals actually do not have formal driving experience. They've been in the F1 world. They have had deep experience in other roles, particularly in engineering, but they have not actually been the ones driving the cars. I don't know if we have any Ted Lasso fans. I have not seen the latest season. Please do not spoil it. But it is a really popular example, prominent right now. If you haven't watched it, this show is about a college football coach who is hired to coach a soccer or football team in England. And the reason he is hired is because he has no experience in the sport. Basically, he is hired to fail. And spoiler alert, his inexperience actually works in his favor. Stress and imposter syndrome, they feed on you thinking that you are alone. We can challenge that, our catastrophic thinking, our cognitive distortions, by being open about them. Okay, so we are going to play a game. And if you recognize this game from college, it is a little different. It does not involve any drinking. Here's what I want you to do. If you are on camera, I want you to hold up your fists. If you are not on camera, just anytime you hear something that you have done, type a yes in chat. So here's how this is going to go. Okay. Never have I ever felt like I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. Never have I ever felt like I'm making it up as I go along. Never have I ever felt like everybody else has it together except for me. Never have I ever compared myself to other people and thought, oh, they're better than me. I'm going to put my hands down, but keep going. Never have I ever felt like, oh, I just happen to be lucky sometimes. Never have I ever downplayed my achievements. Never have I ever felt like someone is going to come and expose me as a fraud. Never have I ever thought that I am the only person who feels this way. Yeah. I want you to look around at these fingers in the air, these yeses in chat, and put your hands together and clap for yourselves, for being brave, for sharing your vulnerabilities. Clap, because we are not alone in these feelings. Anytime you are out there in the field, feeling like you are a fraud, feeling like you are not good enough, when you are downplaying the achievements that you've made in Agile, I want you to stop. And I want you to think about this moment in this meetup. Think about those fingers that you saw on camera, the yeses that you see in chat. These are from professionals in our field. These are from the universe's Scrum Masters. We all feel this way. You are not alone. We are going to take a really quick break. I am a huge fan of taking breaks. There's something called psychological detachment from work, and it has been shown to give you fewer symptoms of psychological strain when you put something down and you walk away for a little while. However, If you choose to take your break time on your phone, studies have shown that there are actually higher mental costs associated with just passive browsing of electronics. So, what you want to do when you take a break is you want to move in some way. Now, Dr. Kelly McGonigal, she debunks the myth that movement is just this mere rush of endorphins. She goes into how there are so many chemicals and synapses in the brain that are at play anytime you move. And it doesn't matter even if you're stuck at your desk. Take a 2-minute break. I tend to build it in somewhere around the 45, 50-minute mark of a class, a workshop, a training. Move in some way. We are going to do this together. We're going to do it sitting down right in front of the screen just to show you that you can even do this in your office when other people are around. You're not going to look crazy. This is what I do when I need to get out of my head. I need a break. I need to move. Okay. We're going to start just by nodding our heads up and down. And even if you're not on camera, I hope you're doing this with us. We're going to do a little bit side to side. We are going to take I'm doing my right shoulder. So take your right ear over your right shoulder. Do a little bit of a neck stretch. This is great if you've been staring at a screen all day. There's an option if you want to take your right hand and just place it gently over your ear. Don't push if you want a little bit more. Totally optional, great neck stretch. Same thing on the other side. I'm doing my left ear to my left shoulder, and I'm just placing my left hand on my head for a little bit of a deeper stretch here. And then really quickly, just take your wrists and kind of roll them out in circles. I'm hoping that the microphone isn't picking up this like symphony of cracking that I'm having. I don't know if anybody else is. Oh, the joy of keyboards. Anytime you are feeling stuck, overwhelmed in your head, remember to detach and get moving. That is self-care. It is that simple. Speaking of self-care, in chat, when you hear self-care, what do you think about with self-care? Take some time, put your answers in chat. When you hear self-care, what do you think about? Oh, loving yourself as is. I love that one. Decompression, meditation, eat, sleep, move. It's really that simple. Refilling bucket, dance. Oh, doing what you enjoy, relaxing. Yes, all of these things. The National Institute of Mental Health says it is taking the time to do things that help you live well and improve your physical and mental health. So everything, taking care of yourself without guilt, going outside, all of that is self-care. It's how we put an end to that stress cycle, that lion that we were chased by earlier. When the lion goes away, when the stressor is gone, self-care is the signal that it is time to stop that stress response and return things to normal. And I wish it were, but it's not a one-time thing. You cannot just slap on a face mask and say, oh, self-care, I'm done. It takes continual practice. In our particular roles as Agile practitioners, there are a few ways that we can practice self-care. We have recharging without guilt. That is how to take care of yourself and not feel bad about it. I saw a couple people talking about that in chat. We also have self-care for introverts and extroverts, because depending on where you are in that spectrum, self-care looks a little bit different for each of us. There's also the importance of finding a community, kind of like the one that we're in right now, having other people there to help you put on your oxygen mask, or at least remind you to put it on. Once again, you get to choose, given our time, probably one of these topics we'll get to cover. If you would like to cover talking about recharging without guilt, type recharge into chat. If you want to talk about self-care for introverts and extroverts, you can type introvert or extrovert into the chat. Or if you're interested in how to find a community of care, type community into chat. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of recharge. I'm seeing a lot of community. I think right now, recharge seems to be pulling ahead. Ooh, but it might be community. I'm going to see what the next couple of ones are before making a decision. Let's see. Okay, community it is. Let's talk about finding a community of care. Our care team, another excellent choice here. When we are the coaches, we are the people who are helping others. Who do we reach out to for our help? When I was doing some research for this presentation, I read an awesome book called Loneliness, and it is about John Cacioppo. And his original life plan was to become a lawyer. But he ended up becoming a loneliness scientist instead. What happened was he was in a near fatal car crash when he was younger. And that reawakening brought him to the realization that the two most important things in his life were love and social connections. So he totally gave up his plans to study law, and instead he applied mathematics to the psychology of loneliness. And he had an over 40-year career helping to found the field of social neuroscience. He uncovered some really surprising facts about loneliness. The region of the brain that processes loneliness is the same one that experiences physical pain. Protracted loneliness can make us less likely to acknowledge the perspectives of other people and less likely to have the ability to judge the intentions of others. It makes us less able to let go of normal disruptions, day-to-day setbacks, mistakes. It even has the power to alter DNA transcription in the cells of our immune system. In fact, this was really cool. Loneliness is such a threat to our well-being that England and Japan appointed their very own ministers of loneliness to find ways to reduce loneliness in their countries. Because when we reduce loneliness, we become healthier. Social connection, talking with others, helps slow mental and physical decline, and studies have shown it helps us live longer, stronger lives. People who feel connected to other people experience lower levels of anxiety and depression. They have higher self-esteem, greater empathy for others, they're more trusting, they're more cooperative. And scientists have even found a correlation between having social connection and having a longer lifespan. Just as when you get hungry, that is prompting you to eat. When you get lonely, it is prompting you to connect with others. Something beautiful happens when we have that social connection. We get oxytocin in our brain, and oxytocin is responsible for blood pressure, pulse, alertness, movement, feeling. It also helps to keep you calm, and it helps to foster further social connections. So you make more connections, you get more oxytocin, which makes more connections, And it's just this beautiful avalanche effect, all started by connecting with other people, just as we're doing now in this meetup. It's awesome. Really, when we connect with other people, we're actually helping to care for ourselves. That is a form of self-care. I'm going to share with you my connections, my care team. It's changed over the years. I've worked with psychiatrists, therapists, coaches. I've worked with medication as well at various points in my life. Right now, I work with a really awesome therapist every other week. I adore her. My paid care team, I love them. They are the professionals. And these are the people here that do not get paid to put up with me. These are my family, my friends, my coworkers, the people that you see on this slide. They actually tend to not change too much over the years. They're steady, they're there for me. My boyfriend is on there, my cats. I'm actually getting on a plane in a couple hours to go see my family in Phoenix and have that connection. These are the people that are there for me when I need it. They're there for me when I don't think I need it. And it's your turn. I want you to think about who is on your care team, paid, unpaid, professional. Who's that team? And while you're thinking about your care team, and yeah, if you want to share in chat, please do. I have homework for you. I want you to pick one person or pet, we do not discriminate here, one being of your care team, identify that being and how you are going to reach out to them, even in a small way. For example, I have my cat up here on my desk. I'm going to give her a little pat right there, and she's giving me a look that's like, yep, I deserve that. You're doing your job, human. So I'm doing that right now. If you're comfortable sharing in chat, who's that person or pet or whoever that you're going to reach out to? In what way will you reach out to them and when? Give yourself a deadline. So we've got people reaching out to husbands and sisters. Looks like people are petting their cats. Oh, there's a thinking buddy, a dog, mother and wife. How will you, oh, today, my cat's, oh, hugging your husband, sister-in-law. Oh, a coach session at 1. Oh, have a great session, Logan. Every hour, cat, you set that alarm for petting your cat, cuddling the cat, photo bombing cats. Oh, flowers. Oh, I love that, Tammy. I love sending flowers to friends tomorrow after work. Perfect. Even if it's not something that you wanted to share in chat, keep it in your mind, write it down, make that commitment to reaching out to that person, that pet, that member of your care team. Let me tell you, this field, it is so easy to feel alone in this when we are working remotely, seeing people on a screen, when we are being brought in as an outside consultant, or when we are watching our hard-fought agile transformation go up in flames before our very eyes. And I'm saying when, not if, because it will happen. When that happens, remember your care team. Honor that commitment that you made for those flowers, those lunch dates, those coaching, those hugs. Reach out to your care team, get your oxytocin, and keep going. It is time to put our tray tables up in the upright position and bring your seats up. We are coming in for a landing. Our roles, I want to acknowledge, agile practitioners, so freaking hard. People, the people that we deal with in our roles, freaking hard. Self-care, that, to me, that is the hardest of all. There is really nothing out there that is easy for us in our roles. Good thing we like what we do, right? Here's what I want you to take away from the time that we spent together. When you're out there and you are faced with the turbulence in your role, the stressors, the leaders, the teams, the lions, again, hopefully not real lions, just figurative ones. When you are feeling like a fraud, an imposter, everybody else has it together but me, I don't know what I'm talking about. I want you to take a break, step away, move your wrists, move your head. I don't care how you do it, get out of your head. I want you to celebrate the people that are there for you, your family, your friends, your pets, the people here in Scrum Masters of the universe. We are so lucky to be in a field where everyone is so caring and giving. Celebrate your care team, celebrate yourself. And as you are out there in the field, working with your teams, please remember this. Please put on your own oxygen masks first before assisting others. Thank you.
That was great, Susan. Thank you for sharing, and thank you everyone for participating, playing along, using the chat, voting on what those topics are today. So again, if you have future topics that you would love to be brought up here, definitely reach out to any one of the leadership members, and we can work on getting something set up for that. So if there's any questions, we have about 10 minutes, 9 minutes here if anyone has anything. Otherwise, you guys can get those 9 minutes back. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you all so much. Take care.